Medieval Thrones, or World of Thronecraft. This game would be combining World of Warcraft with Game of Thrones and with the TV show Merlin. Press I. This would be an MMO. There would be 6 total levels, with the highest character level being level 6. Level 5 and 6 characters would be eligible for raiding. There would never be an expansion that raises the level cap. Captain. Captain Kirk. Press C. It would correct the wrongs that World of Warcraft has. It wouldn't feel futile to level to max level and raid just to have all of your gear taken away when the new level cap comes. Also, it would be very difficult to make it to max level, or even level 5. And most people would not make it. Unless if they played for many years as a sucky player, terrible. They would not even level up at all. So a lot of players would just stay level 1s and slowly, perhaps, drift up to level 2, 3, and 4. 2, 3, and 4. And would not raid, but would just slowly level up in these ranges. For level 1 through 4 players, the game would consist of training, being cooks or apprentices, being food producers, So hunting, comma, fishing, comma, gathering, comma, gardening, comma, trading, comma, cooking, comma, etc. Press semicolon. As apprentices, they could learn magic from magicians, comma, learn how to make potions, comma, learn how to do tailoring and blacksmithing, comma, etc. These level 1 to 4 players, 1 through 4, would generally just do quests as apprentice for their masters, comma, try to make money selling things they make, to shop owners or to people they've met, have, comma, try to become apprentices for several different people and just do quests for them, comma, go off and do hunting and gardening trips and stuff, comma, go off on quests to gather things and explore, to make cool stuff and learn, comma, etc. A level 1 through 4 player could rise up high at various skills in various trades and become a successful business person at selling the things they make, and could live some kind of ordinary life within the kingdom or village they live in. Everyone would live within the city walls so that they could be safe, just like it is on Merlin. Press L. But players would venture out if they were on some kind of quest or expedition or needing to gather or hunt or something. A great deal of the players would spend their entire time in the game as a 1 through 4 player as. So this part of the game would be kind of like The Sims. Press M. And that you are just living your life and can even start families and have relationships and friends and a job and hobbies. But, press hyphen, your life would be pretty much ordinary. Everyone who plays the game would be on the same open quote server close quote, even though that server would consist of many servers as you change zones. But there would be no such thing as simply not seeing any other player or someone you know in real life because they're on a different server than you. As the game grows, stop listening. No, I'm not making it in real life. I'm making a MMO that is a lot more realistic than MMOs have ever been. Not everyone gets to be a champion, knight, hero of the people. Only the very best skilled players would ever even do raiding. Wake up, comma. The kingdom would need to get bigger, and rather than I, comma, the game dev, comma, have to build a bigger city, comma, instead, comma, the players themselves would have to build a bigger city, exclamation mark. So they would have to expand the walls, comma, erect buildings, comma, erect shops, comma, build sewers, comma, etc. And in order to do so, comma, they would have to go out and gather stone, comma, wood, comma, make nails, comma, gather ores to make steel, to make the nails, comma, etc. And they would have to fashion tools like hammers and stuff, or they could buy them from shops that sell that kind of stuff. And other players doing quests would be the ones who gather the materials for those shopkeepers to be able to craft all of that stuff. And the kingdom would need to get bigger to house all of the new players joining the game. Of. A new player will be a child. And will be assigned randomly to possibly an older player who has a family, or to an NPC who has a family. And they will physically grow up as they level and do quests. Press D. And the rate at which they do leveling and questing will increase their growth rate, which may come across as unrealistic, but who cares? So some players who level slowly would stay child looking for much longer. Stop listening. Babies crawling around doing quests? I mean, no, I said a child. Because a baby can, like, just like in real life, a baby wouldn't be useful enough. So when a new player pays for the game, whatever, they sign in, whatever, they will be old enough to do simple stuff like polishing shoes, taking some clothes to the river and cleaning them in the river. Wake up. A baby will not be able to do the quests because they are just a baby and too dumb to do anything. So a new player will be more like 3 years old in order to skip that part of life. And be able to jump straight into questing, comma, which for their age, comma, will consist of mainly just doing chores, such as cleaning clothes in the river outside the city or inside the city, comma, sweeping their house, comma, feeding any chickens or pigs the family may own and keep outside their house, comma, picking flowers and selling that to a local merchant as a bouquet, comma, wild. Fishing, comma, polishing shoes, of people walking around outside for money, comma, etc. Press semicolon. As the player grows older, they will unlock a lot more advanced stuff, like the hunting, comma, the gardening, comma, the eligibility to become an apprentice for a blacksmith or a tailor. Press I, comma, etc. Stop listening. Hi, Fluffy. Wake up. A cool thing is that players still low in their talent level as a tailor or blacksmith or magician or potion maker or cook can also get quests from other players rather than just NPCs. As long as those players are masters of that craft and are eligible then to have apprentices of their own. Press semicolon. And both parties benefit because the apprentice levels up that skill and the player just gained a basically slave, comma, who is going to go out and do their bidding and get them free materials and help them make things that they can sell. And so the higher level skill player makes money out of this, and the lower level skill player gains experience and skills up. And a cool part of all of this is it creates more interaction with actual players rather than just NPCs all the time. Press semicolon. The same applies for polishing someone's armor, comma, polishing someone's boots, comma, cooking buff food meals for a raider, comma, repairing the gear of a raider, comma, which can be cheaper doing it with the player than with an NPC, and the player levels up their gear repair skills, comma, etc. Open parentheses. Note that a player that is a raider can clean and repair their own gear, but would lose respect points because they are above that kind of thing. Close parentheses. Of course, there will be an auction house and a real in-game economy. And money will be used in all the ordinary ways to buy gear, comma, buy equipment, comma, buy materials to make things, comma, etc. As a level 1 through 4 player, comma, your gear will be pretty crap looking, and you will not be eligible to wear really cool, powerful looking gear because you are not a raider or a warrior. Press O. Press semicolon. So everything you wear will be brown and drab looking and need repairs at times and patches. Press semicolon. Everyone will need to pay rent for a house and pay taxes to support the kingdom. And every house will be owned by the kingdom, so the rent is paid to the kingdom. People can work for the kingdom by accepting quests from NPCs. Press Shift N. Such as quests to build kingdom expansions of its walls or sewers or buildings, and specifically gathering materials to do so and then physically doing it. Press semicolon. So this would be like the medieval public works department, and you could make pretty decent money doing this. Press semicolon. By making a good amount of money, comma, you can dress nicer and be seen by the opposite sex as being more attractive and be more likely to get a girlfriend or boyfriend. And ultimately get married. And have kids, open parentheses, who will be new players of the game that spawn as your children, close parentheses. The game will not have factions. It will be just a single kingdom, and everyone will be in some realistic social hierarchy within the kingdom. And everyone will aspire to be a level 5 or 6 raider. If they think their skill in battle can reach that level. Because most people will never be that skilled in battle, comma, most will remain businessmen or master crafters or master magicians of some sort. But will never rise to a warrior status. Occasionally, comma, there can be some major battle where even normal level 3 and 4 characters who are not the most elite warriors will be conscripted to help out with the fighting and serve in the army. But they will not be doing high level raiding. Outside of a major war. And even when taking part in these war campaigns, comma, they will be expected to clean and repair the armor of the class 5 and 6 characters level. And cook meals and stuff. While the two high level characters will just give them quests and get free stuff and make money in the ordeal. But at least the low level people will get skill points and level up a little bit. Low level people, open parentheses, levels 1 through 4, close parentheses, will level up very slowly, doing their menial tasks. As they are not in any major rush to level up, as they will cap out at level 4 anyways. If people want to level faster, comma, they can do more dangerous stuff, like hunting wolves in the forest to make the kingdom safer, comma, forming large mobs and hunting down a witch who lives out in the woods, comma, killing boars, who live in the woods and ruin people's gardens out in the woods, comma, taking part in military campaigns and getting a lot of kills in battle, comma, defending the kingdom's walls by dumping boiling water or boiled tar onto enemies who approach, comma, etc. I suppose level 4 characters can do level 4 dungeon parties and five-man. At this time, choose a class, such as healer, comma, tank, comma, DPS, comma, roll. And choose a class, such as priest, comma, paladin, comma, warrior, comma, rogue, comma, warlock, comma, hunter, comma, mage, comma, so at least level 4 characters can do actual fighting rather than only fighting in wars. On a fairly regular basis. But, comma, there will only be 3 or 4 dungeons that are pretty easy, relatively, open parentheses, close parentheses, and then they will get progressively way harder. With maybe 2 in each difficulty jump tier. and 6 tiers. And this will be what weeds out and separates people based on their skills, on how far they can progress in dungeons as level 4 characters. Press semicolon. As you clear dungeons, comma, you can get gear upgrades, rewarded to you by the kingdom from the kingdom's armory that will be a mark of honor bestowed on you from the kingdom for having cleared that dungeon. Press semicolon. And various kills within the dungeon also increase your chance of getting gear awarded. So you might not kill a boss, but if you keep killing a lot of trash mobs, comma, you can become eventually eligible for a piece of gear from the kingdom's armory. Press semicolon. This is different from other MMOs that have the gear get looted from enemies, which is sort of unrealistic, and it wouldn't necessarily fit you. And why would some monster have a bunch of armor and weapons stored on its person? That is dumb. Press semicolon. You can loot from these enemies some portion of magical essences, which will improve the power of your magical armor and weapons. So if they have magical weapons and armor, comma, your party can split that up, and you would cast a spell to extract the magical essences from pieces of the boss's armor and place that blessing onto your armor and weapons. Dungeons can be more realistic and more like stealth missions. So they can be breaking into an enemy encampment and starting fires, burning their supplies and food, and capturing opponents to take back as slaves. To the kingdom. And killing anyone that stands in your way as a party of 5. But will require speed of execution and lots of hiding at times. And then escaping by stealing some unattended horses and riding away, riding without being caught. Press semicolon. So the dungeon encounters can feel more like the Metal Gear Solid missions. Or a stealth Rambo mission from the old Rambo movies. Press semicolon. The combat will be nothing like a traditional MMO. Press semicolon. You will actually need to manually aim your spells, and they can miss if you do not hit your target. So in this way, it will be like an FPS game, except with spells. Press semicolon. Or with physical attacks, if you play a class that has physical attacks, of course. Press semicolon. Also, comma, the combat will be less than a minute long before someone dies. So there won't exist these 5 versus 1 slow lowering of health type of scenarios. But there can be skilled enemies that require a 5 versus 1, but those enemies slowly get worn down and start to miss blocked attacks and start to bleed and start to weaken and get killed. Press semicolon. So I guess mana bars and stamina bars are realistic in this way. But it won't just be countless blind attacks hitting at least a person. But you'll see actual slices and cuts and bleeding instead that have an impact on the performance of the enemy in a realistic way. Press semicolon. Examples of enemies that are not human can be colon dragons, comma, dragons spawn, comma, ogres, comma, orcs, comma, worgen, comma, trolls, comma, witches, comma, sorcerers, evil, comma, etc. The combat scenes will be inspired by Lord of the Rings movies, comma, and encounters from Merlin. Press L. The TV show. Groups of magical beings are to hate humans, open parentheses, like on Merlin, close parentheses, and are to form encampments surrounding the kingdom with the aim of killing off humans. And so a dungeon party will need to pick off strategically these encampments as nighttime stealth operations and will need to cast silencing spells to prevent the enemies from calling for help from their comrades. And so, your group can pick them off one at a time, or three at a time perhaps, and can use crowd control spells to disable certain ones to make it possible to get kills without dying yourselves. And so you'll have to use your abilities wisely to prevent dying, and it will be big time challenging. Press semicolon. Perhaps the boss will be in a bigger tent than the rest, and will be sleeping, and you are waking up his underlings and killing them silently before finally waking up boss characters from their big tents and taking them on. Humans will be part of these magical beings groups. Enemy groups. And they will be called wildlings. Just like on Game of Thrones. Press L. And they will have their own army and various quests will involve stealing from them or burning down one of their food stores. And they will be encamped surrounding the kingdom at some distance. And the job of the kingdom is to lower their numbers or starve them out and push them back to defend its territories. Raids will be 10 man or 25 man formats, and they will involve going after much more powerful groups of enemies. And will consist only of level 5 and level 6 rating qualified. Press I. Press D. Players. Level 6 raiders will be successful level 4 raiders. Who are promoted by the kingdom to be members of the king's guard or his elite army of best fighters who are sent off in groups of 10 or 25 to take on higher level targets or more difficult missions to take down powerful enemies. Five progressively harder raids for level 4 raiders, and each one takes 4 to 5 hours to complete. Unless if it is a wipe fest. Wipe. Wiping. In which case, it will take forever and groups will call it a day and have to start over the next day. There can be 6 progressively harder raids. For level 5 raiders. Killing and looting enemies and gaining from their magical essences using spells, as well as earning gear upgrades given from the kingdom's armory as a reward for killing enemy bosses, will improve the gear of a raider. And this will make slowly that guild's raiding group more powerful and able to progress further in their raiding efforts. The fact that will look cooler than everyone else with awesome armor looking and weapons and be a higher level than everyone else will make very rewarding. Unlike other games, such as where everyone gets to raid and has the same gear, even when there are huge skill differences. And everyone gets to see all content, which is stupid. Only the most skilled players get to do this, and other players get to aspire to it and look up to the most skilled players and be jealous and give them a lot of respect. And be in awe of them. Also, most will never achieve what they have achieved. There will be guilds, and those guilds will need to work together and schedule times where they do raiding and stuff. There will be player versus player arena. Where people can sharpen their skills. Or just focus on player versus player parts of the game. Level 4 characters through level 6 characters can participate. and will face off against characters of their own level. But level 5 and 6 characters can face one another as well, since level 6 characters will be quite rare and wouldn't have enough opponents otherwise. Arena teams will get arena rankings. And there will be arena seasons. And everyone participating has to use player versus player gear. And players can use PvE or PvP gear. The PvP gear will be gear owned by the kingdom and awarded based on prowess and kills to players who basically rent it during player versus player skirmishes. Press semicolon. Players with high progress in PvE will have an advantage. Because they will have more powerful gear than can be obtained purely through PvP. There will also be battlegrounds. With teams of 10 or 15 that face off. With some goal like capture the flag. And these will give you PvP points, which will unlock PvP gear over time to rank up your gear levels, which will give you an advantage over other players. Stop listening. I think I covered it. I covered player versus player. I covered the social kind of Sims game aspect for people that aren't that good, that will never be in raiding or dungeon parties. But they'll have their own little economies, their own little world, their own little lives. They can date, they can have jobs, all kinds of stuff. They can become skilled craftsmen and stuff and make money, start families, and also take place in war campaigns. I covered actual raiding. I covered dungeoning type missions. I covered the progression, the PvP side of the game. This is an MMO that's going to be a mixture of World of Warcraft, Game of Thrones, the TV show Merlin. Stop listening. and Lord of the Rings. And every MMO since World of Warcraft has been based on World of Warcraft to some extent. It's it is the most successful MMO of all time. So you have to create some homage to that in any MMO. It's going to have similarities, but it will be your own take on it, trying to improve on that. And my battle will be more of FPS style, so you'll have to actually aim spells and aim your blows and stuff. Uh, which will be new, different. And I'm thinking third person. So like The Last of Us type of style. I have never, well, whatever. Um, for people that aren't that good, they'll never be able to raid or even do dungeons. You have to be good to even level up to level 4 and be able to do dungeons. Oh, that's the other thing. Wake up. Wake up. Over the years, comma, as expansions come out, comma, the level cap never raises. And there's just more dungeons and raids and quests and professions and a carrying forward of the storyline. And perhaps at the highest tiers there is more challenging stuff tacked on so people can progress even further than ever before. So more content for people of all skill levels. But there is no level reset. Or gear reset ever. Which makes all progress in the game meaningful and lasting forever. Stop listening. As I said, this game will be realistic, so quests will be like just normal tasks in real life, day-to-day work you have to do. Some will be interesting, involving exploring and going to do something. Some will feel mundane, but it just gives you stuff to do. If you are highly skilled, you'll be past all of that. You'll be just doing PvP or raiding slash dungeoning and just moving higher and higher up the hierarchy of the best players, moving further and further and progressing and getting more powerful. Um, Questing will be something always available for people that just live their lives in the game. They're just normal people like The Sims. They just get married, have families, have jobs, do things for extra money, have hobbies, and basically just try to pay their rent and get by, buy their family clothes and stuff. So they're just going to live normal lives in the game. And that's how it's in real life too. Not everyone gets to be the hero of the kingdom. Not everyone gets to be part of the king's guard. And so it's going to be realistic in that way, but people can still have lives. It just won't be um, fighting and gaining glory. They're going to have non-glorious lives. Maybe they can get glory though through being skilled businessmen and really good at buying and selling and making a lot of money and getting more and more fancy clothes and stuff and having nice homes and good relationships and dealing business with other businessmen, being traders. So people can have good lives, but it won't be as much of a fighting game for some people. Only people that want to develop their skills to be the best fighters will go that route. Will the whole game be built in one C++ source file? Of course it will. Except for game assets like models, textures, whatever. For sure, I'll have my future children help me make the game. AI will make a lot of the game. All the models, animations, just the game world will be built by AI. The enemies will have advanced AI for combat, and when higher level characters, like a level 6, joins like a level 4 group, there will be level 6 enemies then, so that the encounter will match the skill level of the participants. Otherwise, a super powerful geared level 6 can just carry a group of level 4s, causing them to get promoted when they really didn't deserve it. So that level 6 would have to be a beast, able to handle the increased difficulty of the encounter while also helping the lower level characters. But if the level 6 characters that have joined the encounter to face off on the level 6 that's trying to carry the lower level characters, um, if you try to kill some of the easier characters that are fighting your people you're trying to carry, then the level 6 enemy will also try to kill some of your party members. So they will mirror your behavior. If you're trying to help out, it will help out its underlings. So you'll be evenly matched. So there won't really be, in other words, a whole lot of carrying unless if that level 6 is so good that he's actually able to best the increased difficulty of the encounter and be that good and then still help out, which is possible. But he would have to be an absolute beast. He won't be able to just show up with his powerful equipment and run everyone through lower encounters. So just by playing longer and being more accomplished, he won't be able to make content trivial. It will scale. This game's going to be really hard. Only the very best players will be able to progress in PvE. Everyone else is going to hit walls. Have to really struggle. And if they cry about it, that's too bad. They'll have to just start doing more PvP or playing basically the Sims type gameplay and just become businessmen if they're not good enough. But the people truly dedicated and skilled and willing to master the game will progress in PvE. And that's how it should be. There should be no handouts. Progression should mean something. Gear upgrades should mean something. It shouldn't be handed out like candy to people that didn't earn it. You can get easy stuff. You can have a nice garden. You can pay rent and get a nicer house when you start having more money. You can move up in social hierarchy. And you can still take part in military campaigns. There will be a progression, but mainly financial, for non-skilled combatants. You can grow in knowledge and skill in different areas, grow financially, like in real life. But you just won't grow that far unless you're very skilled in combat, in the combat side of the game, period. That's how it is in real life too. What about botters and hackers? That's a good question. Very good question. It'll probably have anti-cheats. So that'll be the same as any game, just a arms war between the game dev and the botters / hackers, trying to detect and not be detected. That's fine. But yeah, like any game, there's going to be people that try to bot and hack, and like any game, the game maker will do its best to curb it and keep it to a minimum. But you won't be able to catch everyone. I might have it be a $60 game, and then you have to pay $15 a month. And then it'll have an item shop, and you can also buy game time with gold from people that want to sell gold for game time. So you could just buy the game one time. Maybe it'll have $5 sales during Christmas time, I don't know. And you can pay for the game with gold if you just make gold in the game. Which kind of makes sense. The people that never really have a lot of skill and aren't that hardcore on raiding and dungeoning and don't move far in the game in that regard, and they just play the game like The Sims, they'll just make gold and probably buy their game time that way. But the more serious players who are dedicated to moving far and progressing in PvE, they'd probably be the ones more willing to pay for the game anyway, so they'll just pay the monthly fee. And they'd be happy to pay it if they're hardcore on the game. I mean, that's their life. They'll pay the money. Or they'll be so hardcore they'll have time to make gold and do PvE. Oh, you'd ban a botter? What are you talking about? Why would my AI need to learn? Okay, you're saying don't ban a botter? Just flag them? Interesting. Oh wait, you know what? You might be onto something. So if the game detects somebody as being a botter, but then they're not going to be botting exclusively. What if they bot sometimes, play sometimes? Once they're a botter, they're always a botter, but they don't get banned. As a botter, would they be then not able to play certain types? Like, would they not be able to be a Kingsguard? Would they get demoted to a lower level, or? I don't. Doesn't that encourage? No, I guess it would discourage botting if there are penalties for botting. No, because if you just allow the botters, well, no. Okay, if they're a botter, would you say like they can't? engage in the economy of the game, but they can still engage in, like, what? Would they enter into a, a botting portion of the game? Like they can only do things that bots do in the game, and they can progress through the game versus other bots, but they automatically for sure have to pay the full $15 a month, and they're just treated as a different class of player, and there's a whole bot progression in the game that's separate from the normal player progression. That's interesting. I mean, maybe then botters would be like, hackers and botters would be like intrigued and like want to play the botting side of the game. I don't know. 0.5x luck. I don't know. I don't think that can work. How can it? That'd be so hard to design a whole facet of the game that accommodates botters. I mean, that kind of takes away the whole challenge of being a successful botter, of not being detected. That's the whole point. So you might be saying something that would ruin it for botters. I think it's better just to ban botters and make them work hard to not be caught so they don't get banned. Knowing that they exist and just doing your best to catch them. That's how every game already is. I don't think the game makers actually hate in real life anyone that bots. I think they just make the botters work hard to make a bot that's so good that no one knows it's a bot. But you're right about having AI detect botters. I can definitely do that. I'll have my game not only detect botters based on traditional ways of detecting, but also based on just behavior observation. So I can have advanced botting behavior detection AI. And then that would need to be secretive because, I think I'd probably be really good at detecting botters because I've been a botter for years and I've created one of the most sophisticated gaming bots of all time. So I would be the ultimate at stopping a botter. Just like police hire thieves and drug dealers to catch thieves and drug dealers. Security teams hire the best hackers to catch hackers. Like, I'm the best botter, so I detect all the botters. So I think that's going to take care of itself. Somebody that doesn't know anything about botting would be hopeless to defend against it in a game. They'd suck at it. But somebody that's an absolute savage at botting will have no problem defeating most botters, who are a bunch of amateurs to me. No, I'm not going to hand anything to botters. They're going to get banned because they have to be an absolute beast and savage to not get banned. They'll get caught. So if they're that good at botting, then they're going to benefit from it. They've earned it. Just like if you're the best bank robber ever, you're going to make a lot of money bank robbing. Like anything in real life, if you're really good and you excel at it, you'll be rewarded. And there's nothing anyone can do to stop you because you're so good and you never get caught. I'm not an old school botter. My bot has neural networks and organic timing and stuff. And I'll never stop botting. So even as I continue to develop advanced artificial intelligence for robotics and develop my own games, I'll still be developing bots, and so I won't be an old school botter. I'll be up on all of the latest botting methods because I'm still a professional botter. A professional botter that also makes an MMO that has anti-botting. So David is not an MMO. David is a campaign-based single-player game with some multiplayer modes like Battle Royale and different skirmishes and different type of FPS type battle stuff. And it's mostly a story game with then online multiplayer aspects. My zombie game is just a plain old shoot 'em up, first person shooter, killing zombies. And it might have multiplayer modes as well. We haven't even gotten into that, but it's, you know, a traditional shooting game. It'll have state of the art graphics and really cool music, and it'll be really cool story and just really engaging. And it's nothing special or new. It's just gonna be a cool extra game in that genre. It doesn't have to be something all fancy. And now I'm officially announcing my new MMO project. I'm gonna actually build an MMO, subscription-based MMO with modern graphics, and it's gonna be really epic, and it's gonna take existing MMO concepts and add my own ideas, and it's gonna be really cool. And people can play it if they want. If they think it sounds fun, they can play it. If they don't have to. It might have 15 players. It's not all about the money for me because I'm a solo developer. I might hire help for some stuff, I don't know, but since my bots are going to be making the game anyways with AI, I probably won't need help. That'll make it so much easier to make the game because I have AI that will make the game. All the games will be made by AI, so it's all good. In many ways, my MMO is simpler than other MMOs because there's only one faction and there's only 6 total levels, and that will never change, and expansions just add more content, but they don't actually change people's progress, which sucks and is stupid. And there's no freebies, and nobody gets to level up without tremendous skill, and it's going to be hard, unless if people want to just stick with becoming successful businessmen and play it like a dating game and start families and date and get married and have kids and live a normal life, and then it won't be so hard. So people can play it how they want to play it, but if they want to progress, they got to be elite fighters if they want to progress in PvE, period. So I will need to create bots probably to play my game who are savage beast mode bots, and that's how I'll tune the game. So I'll create players that are bots. I'll bot my own game in order to tune the encounters to certain skill levels. So I'll make bots of various skill levels, elite skill levels, really high-end skill levels, various skill levels of players, and it will simulate those players, and that way I won't need game testers and stuff. The bots will game test my game for me. I came up with almost all of this while laying in bed this morning. And I don't even know why, I just started designing an MMO. So I just had to write it down, and now it will be made. I was just inspired to do this. So, it's official, we've got an MMO, guys. My life just got that much cooler. So I'll add this to my to-do list. No big deal. Just another thing for Larry to do in his free time. So that's pretty cool. I have a proper MMO coming out then. It's that easy. It goes on the to-do list. Alright, so I pasted the whole game design on the to-do list. Now I have to actually make the game to my to-do list. So that will go into the daily miscellaneous projects list at the bottom. And someday, if I get around to it, it will get promoted to a daily main project where it will be worked on every week. But originally, it's just going to be added to the daily miscellaneous projects list. You guys know the routine. Wake up. Make World of Thronecraft MMO. World of Thrones. Wake up. World of Thrones. Medieval Thrones. Age of Magic. Age of Thrones. Magic Wars. Wizards and Stuff. Magical People. Dark Thrones. Medieval Age. Stop listening. I had to create a bunch of game titles because the game title might be taken by the time I release the game in 40 years.